Welcome to another episode of Outside Shots with your man Eddie Johnson. I'm Saul Bookman. He just found out that I went back to school when I was 35 years old, and he's losing his mind because he asked if I ever went to a college party. And I said, yeah, I did. Because down at the University of Arizona, people, let me tell you something about the University of Arizona, because I went to Kansas State before that. And when I was at Kansas State, nobody would talk to me. It was like everybody probably thought I was the narc in the classroom because I was the old guy, and they probably thought I was going to like rat them all out. So they didn't fuck with me. But when I got to U of A, they did not care at all. They would hang out. We would do stuff. Like, it was fun as hell.
You're the old man in the club.
I was, man. I was 35 though. I mean,
That's
35's
old.
not that old. Is it? 35?
You go to college when you're 18. You walking on
Okay. So our producer today is Leah Merrill. And so she met me when I was down there.
She thought you was a professor.
I mean, what was your first
Professor,
impression? Did you think
tell me what a class is?
Did I stand out for my age?
No, I mean, you were definitely older in the class, but it wasn't weird. It was never weird.
Thank you.
I actually thought it was cool that you were in school.
See what I mean? I'm cool, Eddie. I'm cool.
And I thought it was cool that being in university, it's like there's people from all walks of life, all backgrounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get that. But also, it's some students. See, you maybe you an old soul and you think differently, okay? And that's fine. So I commend you for your openness to the world to see things differently. I get it. But then there's some kids was in the class like, what the hell is that sitting back there? I mean, does he belong in here?
First of all, it's not like I came in, with my mung beans and my coffee every morning or anything like that. I was just like everybody else.
I don't care. I would have been wondering, is he a stalker? Why is he in
stalker?
here?
Why stalker?
You're in there stalking students. I don't know.
Why is that the thing you go to?
I don't know who you would be.
Do I seem like I'm a creep?
I would be wary of the old man in the back of the class.
Speaking of the old man in the back of the class, Chris Paul is trying to find a new team. He might stay with the Suns, he might not, but there's a lot of trade rumors going around. I know the reports are that the Suns are trying to find a trade partner for Chris Paul. There's a lot of different factors that go into this. We broke a lot of it down yesterday on the PHNX Suns show. You can also check out Gerald Borges. He has 10 different trades that could work for the Phoenix Suns in regards to Chris Paul. Eddie, you've been around Chris for the last 3 years. I know Chris is a valued member in the NBA in terms of what he can do for your franchise. Obviously, here in Phoenix, we've had some some hiccups in the playoffs in terms of his availability. But overall, he is a valuable piece. Do you think the Suns would be wise to move on from Chris Paul in regards to his salary, production, and everything involved?
Well, again, I've said this before, and I'll still say it. And I can always use myself because I played till I was 40 years old. When you get north of 33, chances are you're going to be in trade rumors, you're going to get moved. I don't care how good you are as a basketball player, because the money and all the other stuff comes into play. Salary cap, all that stuff. The new bargaining agreement now, which is going to be geared toward stopping teams from probably having 3 max players. Mm-hmm. All those things now come into play. So Chris is a professional. Look, he was the head of the Players Association for a lot of years. He is not offended by what's going on. Maybe disappointed, but we should be. We're human. Mm-hmm. But I don't think he's offended. I think he knows the nature of this business. And so right now, the nature of this business is Chris will be, 38 this year. 2, he's had some injury issues over the course of the last number of years, and they've happened at some of the worst moments. And because of that, as a team, you have 2 players in Kevin Durant and Devin Booker that could be joined together for the next 4 or 5 years. So you want to optimize their ability to be able to win a title. There you go. So now it's just up to Chris and how he wants this to play out, obviously. His contract is the elephant in the room. And if he's okay with taking the pay cut, If he's okay with coming back with the minimum on top of what he has left, that's about $18 million total. Then I think maybe the Suns would, want to go that route. It's pretty obvious that the amount of money on the contract is the elephant in the room, not the ability of Chris Paul, because Chris Paul can still freaking play. So I think that's what has to get shored up here.
Yeah, no doubt. I think there's a couple different things about Chris that come to mind. If you're the Suns and you're in their position, I said this before, you have to weigh whether or not you think $30 million, or actually, let me rephrase. If they ended up waiving him and then signing him back, because that's the preferred method, because I don't see a scenario where they pay him $30+ million for next season. I just don't. That would be the preferred method. And if they do that, because you have to pay $15+ million anyway, if you sign him back to the veteran minimum and he's open to that, you'd be hard pressed to find another point guard that can do what Chris Paul does for $3 million a year.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's one factor. The other factor is that, I mean, listen, other teams want Chris Paul as well. I think, Chris hasn't come out and said this, but I know he would prefer to stay on the West Coast and be closer to his family. That was a big factor into why he came to Phoenix and stayed in Phoenix and re-signed with Phoenix, because it was so close in relation to LA. And they were closer to a title at the time than the Lakers were or the Clippers were. So I can see those scenarios. It's just, how does it work money-wise, and can they find a suitable trade that will replace what Chris Paul provides? And it doesn't necessarily need to be a replacement in terms of point guard production. It could be a replacement in terms of valuable pieces that can help contribute to what Devin Booker and Kevin Durant can do. We saw that with the Nuggets. Case in point, they have 2 superstars on that team and a bunch of role players that played their role to perfection in this postseason. And that's what the Suns need to do. And that's really going to be the model moving forward for the rest of the NBA.
Look, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker did enough individually for the Suns to be able to beat the Denver Nuggets. They just didn't have enough past them. If you really want to look at it, you think about it. They're the only team that beat them twice in this playoff championship run for Denver. They just needed something else. Chris wasn't there. DeAndre was not playing at the level that they needed him to play at. And to me, that's why they lost the series. So when you sit back now and you look at that, just what you just said, now you got to figure out, okay, who we need to put around these two guys to be able to take them through to the finish line. Case in point, like Jokic didn't get hurt in the finals, but guess what? In Game 4, right? In Game 4, when he wasn't his total self, Aaron Gordon and Bruce Brown stepped up.
Yeah.
And they won the game. In the closeout game, even though Jokic had 28, in the fourth quarter, though, when they needed guys to step up, it was Michael Porter Jr. and Bruce Brown with a huge offensive rebound late in the game. It's that kind of mixture that the Suns need around their stars. And so I think that's the focus this offseason. And it starts with Chris Paul. It does. It starts with him. Sure, they would love to have him back. I'm sure Frank Vogel, trust me, Frank Vogel would love to have him back. I mean, when you know you have a guy that can, one, command attention, be a facilitator, won't cow down to 2 dominant players in KD and Devin, and always want to get them the ball and will strategically give it to somebody else. You need that kind of point guard playing with these guys. And so that's why it's kind of a conundrum right now in regards to Chris.
We're going to make a little pivot, but before we do, there's, as a former player, dealing with rumors, dealing with, speculation about, player movement, your own movement when you were in the league. I know, you were traded a couple times. How do you navigate through that? Like, I know it's, it's easy to say, well, it's part of the game. It's all part of the business. It's, you're a pro's pro, but it, like you said, you do think about it. You do hear it. You do feel it to a certain degree. How did you manage that? And how do you think players typically are they just numb to it?
No, No, it's emotion all the time because you're leaving. Who you leaving? You're leaving teammates you've gotten close to. You leaving a city that you've gotten used to being in. Say if you have kids, they're in school. Maybe you moved your parents. Then maybe they're older. You moved them to the city that you're in. It's a lot of things now when you get moved that you have to adjust to and change and go to the next city. So that's always the fear. And so to me, yeah, I've been traded I was traded a couple of times in my career. And the worst kind of trade, one trade was the worst trade really is when you're traded in season. Like when you're traded in season, it's tough because now you got to live in a hotel in a city that you're going to for maybe a month or so until you find a place. Your family's left behind. They have to make the adjustment if they're going to come join you. Is it a stable situation you've been traded to? Should they just stay home? If it's in the middle of a school year, you're not going to take your kids out of school in the middle of the school year and put them in another school. So now you're going to be away from them for the rest of the season. Those are things that players have to deal with. And I know people say, well, they're making all that money. They should deal with it. The money doesn't make you happy. It's being around people you love make you happy. And that makes the money good then. And so getting traded in the offseason is better because you make a decision in the offseason. Now you have time to move around and have your moving parts and be settled and be there. So, you sign up for it, man. Like I tell young players all the time, you get into the NBA, you're playing for 30 teams. Just look at it that way. You're donating 13 to 14 years of your life to this craft and just expect to move. If you do that, then you already know what's going to happen and you're good. Most players are going to get traded in this league. They're going to change teams. Get used to it. Making a ton of money. Be happy.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that's good. I mean, that's a great perspective because I didn't, I don't know. We could speculate how we would feel, like if DMVR wanted to trade for PHNX employees and vice versa, and they heard rumors on social about that kind of stuff. I don't know how we would react. Maybe we should play that out.
Feel wanted, right? Like for instance,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a guy and your girlfriend leaves you, but you know that it's another girl that likes you, hey, move on.
Okay. So there was a question earlier in the chat, and this is an interesting question because from Charles Coulter. He asks, Eddie, what are your thoughts on DA moving to the 4 and bringing in a versatile 5? And I think that started because in college, DeAndre Ayton played the 4 as opposed to the 5 because you had a guy named Dusan Ristic who was a very immobile center. So he was playing that position, and DA thrived. Now, I don't necessarily agree that it was just because he was the 4, but he could play that position. That has been speculation and rumored throughout his career in terms of position and if that would be a better fit for him, so on and so forth. What say you in terms of that?
No, I don't like it because I think everything is built around Devin and KD. And look, the only reason you like DeAndre at the 5 is if he's posting up strong, if he's in the paint, if he's finishing strong, if he's getting fouls, helping getting to the bonus, and then you'll put up with that. You say, okay. If not, then you'd want a center that can space out and get out of their way because they're going to attack the glass. They're going to go to the rim. And so those are your two focal points. So, you either got to have one or the other. If you're going to have a big that's in the way, sort of, that's going to always be around the paint, that's going to cut off half of the court in regards to you driving, then you should feel confident, okay, if I give them the ball, something good is going to happen. So you don't want a 5 that's in the way. So if you have a 5 that can space out, that's even better because now that opens up lanes for Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. So no, I wouldn't promote him going to a 4 and then putting another big guy out there. That just shrinks the court too much and it allows defenders to be able to focus on those two to force them to pass to those very guys that's out there on the court. And I guarantee you, teams would love the fact that Devin and KD's not shooting and they're giving it to somebody else.
There's a portion of this that I'm a little confused on, and maybe you can help clear it up for me. When you watch DeAndre Ayton in college, okay, now it's college, I get it, and there's you're playing against inferior competition on a lot of nights compared to what you are in the NBA. But in terms of the fundamentals, okay, catch and shoot, way smoother in college than it is now, especially from long distance. DA on a lot of occasions at the U of A, when he would catch and shoot
when
from
you
three,
when you were going there,
when I was going there,
Yeah.
I watched him up close for a whole season. All right,
yeah. I mean, you were in the stands. You had like pom poms. I mean, you had the Arizona shirt on.
I was working, EJ. But catch and shoot and that transition was way cleaner than it is now. And I wonder what has been the development process and the coaching that DA has gotten to first of all, I think he has somewhat of a hitch on his shot, especially from the perimeter. Not so much from mid-range, but from the perimeter, takes him a little extra second to get that ball off as opposed to what it did when he was in college from long distance. What have you noticed that? And how has that held his progress back, if you've noticed it at all?
Well, again, the hitch in his shot, I could change that thing in 2 weeks. That's nothing.
That's what I keep saying.
No, that's nothing. That's nothing. I think he hesitates on his shots. I don't know if it's a hitch. I think he hesitates, and I don't know why he hesitates. Like, just turn and shoot it. I say that during the telecast, but that's very simple. I just don't think he's comfortable out there for a long period of time. Like, I don't think that's his value. I think his value is his size. I think his value is in the pick and roll. I think his value is his athleticism at the rim. I think the negative for him is not finishing strong, not going in there. And that's what needs to have improvement, like trying to hurt somebody. Like, I know people hear me say that, and they're like, man, you promoting violence. Yeah, between the lines, legal violence. That's legal violence. You go up there and try to block my shot, I'm going to try to break your hand. I'm literally going to try to break your hand. If you're going to go up there and block the shot, I'm going to try to break your hand. Let me give you some guys that tried to do that. Shaq tried to break your whole damn body. Okay? That's just the way it is. You go up there and try to block LeBron, he's going to try to break your arm. You know what that sends a message to? Don't do it. Just don't try to block it. That's all. That now once that's settled, guys won't do it. Like, you never see anybody try to block Shaq's dunk. Like, so Shaq would get the most open dunks in the history of the game. But you have to show the effort to do it, and then you'll get the benefit of it because guys you'll notice will start to not try to do it. And DeAndre has never forced the issue to send that message. So to me, that's the kind of player he can be. And then the jump shots is just icing on the cake. I just wouldn't try to make him a finesse. He's already finesse at center. So I wouldn't want to make him a forward, and then the finesse would maybe get worse. I'm just not buying that.
I don't. I mean, you've seen this game. You've been around a lot of players, and I'm not trying to disrespect DeAndre Ayton by any stretch of the imagination because I love him. I think he's one of my favorite players. I don't know if you can just switch to be an aggressive player overnight, and I don't think you can. I don't think that's something that you can just build.
He can dunk hard. We saw him do it early in the year. Like, beginning of last season, you saw him come out, and he was just, he can do that. That's all I'm promoting. I think everything else is smooth with DeAndre. I think DeAndre sets great screens. I think his pick and roll game is good. His ability to catch the ball in traffic has improved over the years. When the ball's below, he's been able to scoop it up smoothly. His issue is when it's up here. He tends to have a hard time grabbing the ball when it's thrown up here and he catches it and it kind of bounces on his hands. He doesn't see, his eyes is not connected to the ball he grabs it.
Is he not doing the fingertip drill?
I don't know what it is, but he doesn't. But low, when they're throwing him passes, he scoops it up. So he's very good at that. He can't turn into Shaq, but he can at least turn into Shaq at the rim. And just try to dunk the ball hard every time. And I think if he does that, I think he don't realize the kind of portal that would open for him.
Yeah.
He just doesn't. I mean, it seems weird. It seems basic. It seems elementary, but it's a psychological thing that you can send a message to players based on how you play. Yeah. And all of us have it. All of us had it as basketball players. You make them understand that this is what I do well, this is what I'm going to do, and they tend to they worry about that, and they react to what you might do to them, and that puts you at an advantage against them. So that's what he has to do, man. But you said it. Is he willing to do it?
Yeah.
That's the big question.
A lot of you in the chat are giving Eddie a lot of love for his Greek basketball days.
My Greek fan, let me tell you something. My Greek fans follow me.
Milo is in the chat a little earlier. He said, here it is, huge Eddie Johnson fan. We also enjoyed him in the Greek League, saw him up close in his first game in Greece with Ari Thessaloniki.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thessaloniki.
Yeah. And he won it by himself. You know what I mean? That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm telling you, a lot of arenas around Greece. I think it was when I was there, about 9 teams actually in Athens. So we just busted games, and we had some games where we had to get on a plane and go to. But I'm telling you, the most hostile places, man, you went into, man. I got hit by coins, man, so much. But I learned how to stop them from doing it. I would laugh about it. I wouldn't really get mad about it, and they started to love me.
There you go.
Best year ever for me as a basketball player in Greece. Living on the Mediterranean in a 4-level house. Yeah. That was great. My son, he's taking my son out. We were 2 blocks from the water. I'm not kidding you. I can go up to the top level and I can just look out at the water. And I would take him, and the thing in Greece is flying kites. Mm-hmm. So we go out to the beach and flying kites and everything, man. You would have had a great time, Saul.
I'm sure I would have.
See, if you'd have known me, you could have come to visit me, you know?
Yeah. I was still in college.
No, you wasn't even in college then.
As a reminder, we're brought to you by the good folks over at OG's, the best edibles in the game. Check them out at ogsbrands.com. Find your closest dispensary to check out all the different flavors. They have the creamy flavors. They got a new lemonade that's dropping, I think, on the 21st. They got THC. They got Happy Balance gummy. I mean, they got everything. The whole spectrum from your sativas to your indicas to your hybrids. They got you covered. Check them out, ogsbrands.com. Also, they're just a great company. They get it. They're all over Instagram. Listen, just check them out. They're awesome. Speaking of the high life, the Denver Nuggets are now your NBA champions, unfortunately. And listen, I mean, they had a great run. I think they lost 4 games the entire playoffs, 16-4. 2 of those coming at the Suns, but that's irrelevant because they won the championship, and that's all that matters in the NBA. So you were sitting there in the arena when they won it. I actually want to know, what was it like when you left the arena?
Crazy.
Yeah?
Unfortunately, it was crazy. And, I know you heard about the shooting there.
Yeah.
And I was getting ready to walk in that direction because we couldn't get any cars. And so, like I said, God has always watched over me. I totally believe it. And I was getting ready to walk. We heard shots because there was fireworks going off too, but I know what a gunshot is, and I actually heard it. And so I'm glad a cab came just in time. It wasn't a very pleasant cab ride. I won't get into that. I mean, I don't think the guy took a shower for freaking 3 damn months.
Oh,
but I was just blessed. Not that I didn't walk, but yeah, it was great. It was crazy out there. Those Nuggets fans you saw in the arena.
Mm-hmm.
I think that arena was ridiculous. It was just, they never won a title. And so I understand the excitement. And you know what? What a great group of guys, though, on that team. Like, obviously, I was in a room the entire time doing the finals that they had to walk past me all the time. And that's when we would interview them. So they would bring them into the room and we would interview them. And, I mean, all of them spoke. Most of them came over and said hi. I know a few of them. Obviously, I've been knowing Jamal Murray for a long time. Jeff Green, DeAndre Jordan. I've been knowing him since high school. And, Ish Smith, obviously, that's one of my favorite players. He would come over and he and I talked all the time. So Mike Malone. So I got to know them, catch up with them even more. So you find yourself rooting for them in that regard because, I do like them as individuals. And so, it was a tremendous run for them. You take nothing away from them. Saul, they did what they had to do. They won a championship, and they won it as a team. At times, Miami did test them with just effort to make them ramp their effort up, and they did that. And they won every sort of way. Like that was the ugliest closeout game I think in finals history the other night.
That was a bloodbath.
But they won, and they probably should have lost. But they won, and that's the beauty of this team, this Nuggets team this year, is that they always found a way to win, and other guys stepped up when Jokic and Murray didn't have it going. Like in Game 4, Aaron Gordon drops 27. Bruce Brown in the fourth quarter, playing like Allen Iverson. Like people don't think those guys can play, but given the opportunity, they stepped up. The closeout game. Michael Porter Jr., who was much maligned, wasn't playing well. What did he do? He stepped out there and he played well, got them going early when I think Miami could have built a big lead. And then in the fourth quarter, Bruce Brown again with the biggest offensive rebound in Nuggets history, because to me that sealed their win for the final. So taking nothing away from the Nuggets, because I'm getting ready to go somewhere else, okay? Taking nothing away from them.
Oh.
No, people are saying, okay, they can repeat and all that. I just want to remind people, the last 5 years, no one has repeated. Okay? So the Nuggets are the fifth team. All right? So and those 5 teams that won a championship did not even make it back to the finals in the last 5 years. So it's not that easy. All right? The last team to do it back-to-back was Golden State. Okay? And so the Lakers, obviously in the 2000s, they had 2 repeats. They had a 3-peat and they had a 2-peat. But only 4 teams have repeated since 2000. Mm-hmm. So it's not easy to do, and especially with parity right now, you just can't unequivocally say the Nuggets are going to do it again. Are they going to be around? Yes, because Jokic is ridiculous. Murray is ridiculous. Of course they are. But I would remind people, a lot of luck was played into any time that you win a title, and here it is.
Your good friend Dwayne Wade's going in.
Sorry.
No, I want to finish with this. They beat an 8th seed. They beat a 7th seed twice. So let me put it in order. 8th seed, 4th seed, with 2 of the players going down during the series, and that's the Suns. And Suns beat them twice. A 7th seed, all right? I don't care if it was LeBron and Anthony Davis. It was a 7th seed. An 8th seed. That's how they went. That was their run to the finals. That was probably the most unique run in regards to playing lower-seeded teams in the history of the league. So that's the pushback. So Nugget fans, hold your horses, okay? You didn't play Boston, all right? You didn't play Golden State. You didn't play any of those teams, okay? So hold your horses.
Okay, all right. Well, here, you've done it. You've made me defend the freaking Denver Nuggets. Okay, first of all, I think that argument that they had a weak path, it does not hold a lot of water because, yeah, they beat an 8th seed in the finals. That 8th seed also beat the top 2 teams in the East. Like, they beat the Bucks. They beat the Celtics. Now, the Bucks, Giannis got injured for a portion of that series. Maybe you can let that go and you can write that off. But Boston was fully healthy. And they were up
until the first 10 seconds of Game 7.
They were up 3-0. Yeah, I mean, they were up 3-0 in that series and should have wrapped it up a lot earlier than that. Okay. The Lakers, they beat the Warriors that everybody, was talking about, and the Warriors were at full strength as well. So it's not the only team, ironically, the only team in there that had maybe a little bit of a what if scenario about them was CP3 getting hurt and the fact that the Suns had not been together for a very long amount of time. So that team, I get it. But they handled their business and they destroyed them in Game 6.
Okay.
So I get I
got a rebuttal, but go ahead.
I got the argument that these are the lowest seeded teams that, okay, cool. Right. But those lower seeded teams also handled the higher seeded teams rather easily in these playoffs.
Okay. Well, see, here's the rebuttal on that though. Before the playoffs started, would you have said, Nuggets, who do you want to play in the finals? Miami or Milwaukee?
Yeah, Miami.
Okay. If who would you rather play, Miami or Boston?
Miami.
Okay. All right. Now, in order for Miami to get to where they got to as an 8th seed, what did they have to do? They had to play 2 play-in games,
Mm-hmm.
and they had to play 2 Game 7s, right? Was it 2 Game 7s they played? No, 2. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. No.
Just 1 Game 7.
Okay. But you see the track they had to go through. They had to go through Milwaukee. They had to play a tough series against New York. They had to play a tough series against Boston. And so when they finally got to Denver, you saw what happened. They were fatigued out this world. That's what I'm talking about. So, yeah, they beat those teams for Denver. But in doing that, Jimmy Butler ran out of gas. So when they got them, so if it had been Milwaukee that done that, Milwaukee would have skipped through it, and then they would have been facing a stronger team. So that's my point. So it's like, yeah, I told you, I applaud Denver for what they did. But trust me, they would have taken Miami every time. They would not have taken those other teams. And so that's what I'm saying. So no, don't blame Miami for doing what they did. They were tremendous in what they did. But I'm saying in regards to a repeat, next year is not going to be that way. It's going to be a Milwaukee or a Boston. That's my point. And so that's why it's going to be very difficult for them to do it again. That's all I'm saying. Not that they can't. But that's the road they went through, and good for them. Anybody would have taken that road. So I'm not knocking Denver for that. I'm just knocking the people that's saying, oh, they're going to repeat it because they're just unstoppable. You're doing it based on who they played, and who they played in that run. You can't convince me totally that they're going to do that if it's Boston, Milwaukee, if a retooled Philly, if it's the Suns, you got to go through. If the Clippers are healthy and Golden State stays the same, no, not buying that. New Orleans is healthy, not buying that.
I will say this. I will say that they had a somewhat weaker path than most. Okay, and it was. I mean, let's be real. It was. But again, if you're the Nuggets, like, first of all, obviously, and you're not
title
saying,
is a title.
You're not saying
Please.
that. Yeah.
$100 is $100. Whether you give it to me or I go outside and find it by my car, I don't care.
For a franchise in the Suns that has seemingly found every bad bounce possible en route to try and get a championship, the Denver Nuggets proved that sometimes if you just take advantage of the opportunities, and that's what the Denver Nuggets did. They took advantage of every opportunity in front of them.
Not taking anything away from them.
And so,
zero.
Yeah, I mean,
they did what they had to do, and they got their title.
Congrats
This
to
is
them.
not about me belittling what Denver did. I'm telling you, I told you. I gave you, the first part and the first thought about them. Yeah. No, what they did is what they supposed to do.
For sure.
It's not their fault that Milwaukee allowed Miami to beat them.
Also, Philadelphia is a fraud, and I never want to hear about them being a contender again.
Really?
Number 2.
You think so?
We'll talk about that next week.
Really? Don't you be trying to disrespect the MVP now.
Well, he shouldn't have been. Never mind. All right. I did say he should have been the MVP, so I'm not going to backtrack and be a hypocrite. But the other side of this is Miami. We talked about Miami. Jimmy Butler did everything he could to put that team on his back, but obviously you could see the fatigue. And still, he found a way to hit a couple big threes in the fourth quarter against the Nuggets somehow, some way, when it looked like his legs were just completely gone.
Whatever.
I'm just saying.
I mean, stop.
I'm just saying, man.
Stop. That's Jimmy Butler. That's the guy that a couple of years ago said he gets up at 2 in the damn morning, and he was upset that his teammates didn't meet him to work out.
You just said that he was tired.
Yeah, but my point is, everybody's tired. No, I said the team. I said the team.
Yeah.
The team.
He's part of the team.
That's fine, but not him. I'm not pointing.
Okay.
You know why?
What?
Huh? Because Jimmy Butler acts like nothing is immune to him.
Okay. All right.
Okay, nothing's immune to him. I'm not letting him off the hook. Okay? You played ball. When you was tired, did you stop shooting?
Nope.
Did you only take 12 damn shots and it's 6 minutes to go in the game?
Yeah, because my shooting guard.
No, forget all that. So that means you weren't the top dog. He's the top dog.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
No, I'm not buying it with him.
Okay. I'm just saying what it is,
He kicked Milwaukee's butt in the first round, shot 59%, averaged 7 points a game. Since then, stunk. Okay? And here's the thing. Jimmy Butler is who he is, man. He's not a great offensive player. but he acts like he is. You know,
He's a good scorer.
he's a decent scorer.
Okay.
What I mean in regards to consistency, like when they started to D him up, unlike what Milwaukee did, all of a sudden what happened?
Yeah, to shut down.
Numbers went down and he stopped shooting. That's the part that bothered me.
Okay.
You don't stop shooting the ball, man.
Well, a lot of people still think that he's a Hall of Fame worthy candidate. He's done a lot of stuff in this game. He's been around for a while, and there is a Hemi mode that exists. But in regards to the Hall of Fame, he did have these unique comments to say about that one particular topic.
Your good friend Dwayne Wade's going into the Hall of Fame in a couple months. Have you allowed yourself to think what it would ever mean to you to be elected into the Basketball Hall of Fame?
Yes, I have.
And what do you think?
Don't care.
You don't care whether you're a Hall of Famer?
No, I don't.
Do you think your resume?
Still don't care. Honestly speaking, could care less. If we're being brutally honest, if I was selected to the Hall of Fame, I'm not going.
You're not going to accept it?
No, I'm not going. Like, it's like the festivities and all of that. I just want to go put my feet in the sand somewhere. That's it.
You wouldn't accept that honor, the greatest honor in basketball?
It's an individual thing. You know, I'm not for the individual type stuff. I'm really not. I'm like a team guy.
But even after it's all said and done and you've done...
No, I don't want to go. I'm not worried about the Hall of Fame, so I promise you. It's an honor, it is, but I could care less.
Interesting.
I mean that too, by the way.
I don't know. Sometimes Jimmy does come across like he's trying too hard to impress people with the non-traditional. Let's just take it for like this, okay? Let's talk about the finals. Jokic. I genuinely feel like the day Jokic retires, we will probably never see him again. And would you be shocked if Jokic this offseason, right, was just like, I'm good. I'm good.
No, I mean, look,
that's his personality.
European players, like I said, I lived over there for a year. I know I have a lot of friends, and I have Serbian friends, Croatian friends, Russian friends. My team was filled with all of them. And they have different personalities, man. Like, they love the game, but they're not immersed into it. Like, they're very, I think growing up, you know, obviously they have to play soccer. Mm-hmm. They have to, you know, I think study a little bit harder. It's just things that they do. It's things that their lifestyle is a lot different than Americans. So, yeah, I wouldn't shock me.
But what I'm saying is that Jokic, you can see that's his authentic self.
Yeah.
Like, hell, he didn't even want to go to the parade.
I know.
Because he was
but
like,
it's a lot of, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I'm saying they're all like that. It's not just him. That's their mentality.
No, for sure. But what I'm saying is that then you compare that to Jimmy. And the way he comes across sometimes, I'm like, I feel like it's forced. I feel like it's not really a genuine place of, you know, that he really feels like, oh, I don't care about that and blah, 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 because he's trying to fit like his own persona of what he thinks he should be representing, which I don't really understand. And I feel like there's more to it than maybe we know.
Here's what I would say. And this is the part of the video that bothered me. One, is the highest honor you can ever get. Like, you go through your whole life wanting to play in the NBA. You should respect it. A couple of years ago, he made the All-Star game, and then he showed up at the All-Star game, and he said he was sick and he didn't play. I thought it was one of the most selfish damn things you could ever do. Because, damn it, man, if you're sick, then let the league know, and they can give it to somebody that can come replace you. Mm-hmm. You know, and then, you know, they can have that joy of making the All-Star game. Okay? He did not do that. I thought it was ultimately selfish. Now, he's known as this unselfish guy. But you can be unselfish in certain ways and very selfish in others. And that comment right there was extremely selfish, because the Hall of Fame is something that people strive for. It's guys that should be in the Hall of Fame with their numbers, okay? I understand what the Hall of Fame was when I retired. Like, I never thought that I could make the Hall of Fame, even though I retired. And it was only, at the time when I did retire, it was only like 20 players in the Hall of Fame that had more career points than me. All right? I had every argument to say, look at this, right? Mm-hmm. And 30 minutes a game. Just think if I would have gotten more minutes. And I didn't say anything. You know why? Because I said, I'm looking at all these great players and I'm saying, I just didn't do enough to get there. Now when I look at the Hall of Fame, I did enough.
Yeah.
You get it? So now they belittled it to the point where you got guys that never thought they could get in thinking that they can get in. That's Jimmy right now. But he's even saying, oh, I know I'm going to get in, but I'm not showing up. Like, he doubled down. Like, I know I can get in. Where is it in his category other than he's won? He's gotten to a couple of finals. Other than that, where is his Hall of Fame numbers? Does it say he's a definite in?
Yeah.
Because he hasn't won a title.
No.
So where's his definite numbers? Like, and then to sit there and say, if I get in, I'm not showing up. Like, if I vote for the Hall of Fame, I wouldn't vote for him.
Yeah.
Like, because that to me is disrespect.
Yeah,
because you're going to get in like being pushed off a ledge. You're not walking in with your numbers based on that, right? You're not walking in. You're going to be, you might not get in the first time. So it's going to be a process. And to say, oh, if I do get in, I'm not showing up. I'm going to mess up the program. I'm not showing up. And if they try to talk me into showing up, I'm not coming. And then he doubled down at the end and said, I'm guaranteeing you, I'm not showing up. Man, if I voted, I wouldn't vote him in. I mean, to me, that's just disrespect for the process. And that's what bothered me about it. Tom Chambers should be in the Hall of Fame. That's an ex-teammate of mine. Mm-hmm. Kevin Johnson should be in the Hall of Fame. Tom Chambers would have eaten Jimmy Butler's lunch. I can run down the line of guys that's made the Hall of Fame that could not guard Tom Chambers in their damn sleep. And they were not better, just that much better players than Kevin Johnson.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
They're not in.
All right. Well, hey, I agree with you. When you're talking about the Hall of Fame, there's a certain level of respect that you need to have for that honor. And I feel like that's exactly what he's kind of just disrespected is. And I think by and large, it's the whole voting process. I think it's everything that goes into it. And maybe Jimmy has a skewed image of what that's supposed to represent and how you get there. But honestly, at the end of the day, it's because enough people thought that your career was worthy enough to be cemented and have a legacy in there and be revered. And for you to just go out of your way to try and dump on that is really just.
Yeah, he's quiet. He better put his feet in the sand. Dude, you're doing commercials. You're very vocal in regards to your teammates. If they're not doing the right thing, what he did in Minnesota. Okay, come on. Well, you're not quiet. You're not a quiet guy. And look, I like Jimmy Butler. I know I don't want people to think I don't like Jimmy Butler. I think, for what he is, he's a good number two. He's never going to get to a championship as a number one. It's just not going to happen because he doesn't have that dog to the point of where he's not going to worry about his field goal percentage. Yeah, I think he squeezes the ball and pass. Do you see that pass late in the game? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't even thinking about shooting the ball. Like, he just passed the ball. I mean, he passed it right to Contavious Caldwell-Pope. Mm-hmm. He's just standing there. It wasn't like he moved into the passing lane. He's just standing there, and he just threw it to him.
Mm-hmm. No, I know.
Come
on. Well, as Jay said in the chat, ugly feet. People with ugly feet always like to put their feet in the sand. So there you go.
Well, I got mine in the sand there because mine not too pretty.
I got the prettiest feet in the world.
I know. That tells me a lot about your effort when you played the game.
So many compliments.
It tells me a lot about your effort.
About my beautiful feet. I'm not putting my feet on camera, Eddie. What is wrong with you, man?
You said your feet was pretty.
This ain't the OnlyFans, man. I'm not doing that.
If my feet was pretty, I'd put them on camera.
First of all,
so I'm not going to scare anybody.
Okay, we'll get into another. I'm not taking off my shoes and showing my feet.
I want to see them when the show's over. Show me your feet.
I'm not doing that.
I want to see your feet.
I'm going to California this weekend. I'll take a picture and I'll send it to you.
You ain't sending me no. That's kind of creepy.
You can share it to.
That's
How
creepy.
is this not creepy? This is even more creepy. You want to see them in person. I don't want to see the reaction on your face when you see my feet.
People tell me now. What is more creepy? What's more creepy? Saul showing me his feet right now in front of everything, or sending me a damn picture. What if I open the damn picture at night? I'm like in the bed. I'm like, Saul sent me a text, and you sent me a picture of your damn feet.
Oh my God.
Man, please.
I don't even know what to do with you right now, man.
There's a few things I done found out today. You went to University of Arizona as a 35-year-old bearded
What is
man.
wrong with that? There's a lot of non-traditional students.
Hold on. Can I finish? You went to Arizona as a 35-year-old bearded man. Okay. And then you gonna send me pictures of your feet late at night. I mean, really?
I don't even know what's going on right now. I want to just wrap the show up right now. I don't even know what to say. Let's finish this up.
Did they call you Mr. in class? Like, Mr. Bookman?
No, that's not how it happened. All right.
You shouldn't have never told me that.
What is wrong with that?
Nothing. I applaud you for going.
You know why I went at 35 years old? Because I served my country for over a decade. There you go.
I applaud you. I applaud you for what you did. No, trust me.
You're trying to bag on me for what I did to start my life.
I am impressed. I am impressed, and I applaud you, man, for your drive to go. And anybody that cut out school early, take your butt back to college, without a doubt. I went back to school immediately. I made the MBA. I had 14 more hours. I took my butt right back. I got my degree. No, I get it. I was a 23-year-old man in the class. I was an older guy, too. So that's what I'm saying. I felt the pain when I was sitting up there at 23 years old, okay? So
23.
I get all of that. I'm just like, I was a little disturbed when you said you went to a couple of bars on campus, and that's what bothered me a little bit. You know, an old man in the club.
First of all, now you're putting words into my mouth. I never said I went to the bars. And I never went to the club. I don't do that.
Did you join a frat?
No, man, there was a house party. I went to a house party.
You did a house party, the frat.
Hell yeah,
drinking
I was at a
beer,
house party.
Drinking beer, rub going down your beard and everything. Oh my God.
All right. Okay. Speaking of cringe right now, there's another person out there in the Twitter world and social media world that's trying to pump up his son like no other, and it is awful. It is absolutely terrible. We'll give you a little snippet of what it looks like.
Are you him is the real question.
Yes.
See, I'm going to punch him in. Ask that again, bro. Say, man, what kind of question is that? You see my Instagram. Say that. Ready? All right,
hey, Baby Gronk, are you him?
What kind of question is that? Look at my Instagram.
Would you take her to prom someday?
Hey, no, say it again, bro. You got to say, man, I already DM'd her and asked her, and she said yes. All right, come on, man. Say on the mic.
Hey, Baby Gronk, would you take Livy Dunn to prom, you think?
I already DM'd her, and she said yes.
Damn. Damn. What kind of tuxedo you getting? OG James Bond style or what? Yeah.
Nah, hey, say it again, bro.
Hey, what kind of tuxedo you getting?
I'm gonna get a Gucci one. Ready?
Hey, what kind of tuxedo you getting?
I'm gonna get a Gucci one.
What are you gonna do, to stay sharp and keep your skills up if you're actually not gonna go through with middle school and high school?
Just work out.
No, I'm gonna get massages. I'm gonna get full body massages by some baddies. All right, ready? Go. You want to ask it again, bro?
Yeah.
All right, go.
I saw that you're foregoing middle school and high school football. How are you going to keep preparing yourself to play college football in this whole process?
I'm going to get body massages by baddies.
Anything you want to say before we dip out, Baby Gronk?
I'm the number 1 fourth grade football player in the world, and flex, and that's it. Ready? Stand right there.
Can you say it one more time?
Yeah.
Hey, Baby Gronk, before I wrap up, bring the juice. Anything you want to say to Bring the Juice Nation today?
I'm the number 1 fourth grader in the world.
There you go.
Yeah.
That is awful. That is absolutely awful. Like, I don't care. I'm not trying to shade the kid at all because the kid doesn't know. To me, honestly, he's a fourth grader. Like, he doesn't know shit. Like, he's just a kid. But his dad is just. Listen, I had a dad that was, he's a deaf guy and he's mute, so he can't hear his own voice. And he would yell at me during basketball games when I would miss a free throw, or I made a bad play or whatever. But I knew it was like it came from a good place. He just wanted me to play better, right? But at no point in time did my dad ever, single me out and say, you are only going to play basketball and that's all you're going to do, and try to train me from the time I'm 6 years old to whatever. At no point in time did he tell me I couldn't play other sports. And at no point in time did he ever tell me what to say to try and impress people on a stupid ass podcast, man. That kid is going through some stuff that he doesn't even know is coming his way. And it's because his dad is setting him up for failure, and it's horrible. Absolutely horrible. And enough with this stuff about people talking about, well, at least his dad is around. That don't mean it's a good thing in this situation. Like, there's plenty of people that wish they had their dad around. Yes, I get that. But all because this guy's there doesn't mean that he's doing the right things for his kid either. Like, we got to stop with that. And people try to compare him to LeVar Ball. One of the things that's the biggest difference between what LeVar did and what this guy's doing is, first of all, he's not grooming his kids since the time they were born to try and be superstars. He talked a big game, but he didn't start talking a big game until until Lonzo was basically at the point where he was a surefire top 5 prospect. And then he started blowing it up and hyping it up. And he was trying to gas his kids up. But they were already going down that path. They had already selected the path that they were on. It's completely different than what this guy's doing when you have a 6-year-old that he's training on a day-to-day basis, talking about, oh, he only eats salmon and rice and brown rice and all this regimen that he's on. He's in 4th grade. What are you doing? To me, that is absolutely like that. I mean, CPS should be called in a situation like that, because that is outlandish, and you are setting up your kid for failure. You absolutely are.
Well, first and generally, most kids, when they get away from like households where the parents are just really like on them, right? Grabbing on them and guiding them and just leading them and have their hands on them nonstop. Those are the kids, when they do get out of that household, they never come back.
Yeah.
1. 2, they fall trapped to somebody else out there that really takes advantage of them because they're used to being led. So they want to escape the parents, and then they get out there, and hopefully the first person they meet, first person they fall in love with or whatever is that right person. But then they're always going to want to be led. Like, they're never going to lead. That's the scary part of what we're seeing here with what's going on, is that he's not really cognizant of the fact that when you're a kid, you're really taught by your parents to when we do release you, that you can survive on your own, that you can like take forward what we taught you, but also fall back on, if you don't follow our lead, fall back on, if you do make mistakes, what we taught you, and you can recalibrate and go back to there. This kid is going to lead, and he's only going to know one way. That one way is to be led. And that's the scary part here. Again, there's oversaturation, obviously, of social networking, podcasts, and all that's out there anyway. The guys that run that podcast, I just can't believe they allowed him to control the show and do that. They should have felt sorry for the kid. This guy's obviously trying to make money. This kid is going to grow up, and if he fails at football, he's definitely a candidate for depression. It's just so many things that this man is taking away from this kid right now and having a good time as a kid. He's eating brown rice and all that. No, he could eat bad foods when you're young. Just don't do it over the top. Let the kid enjoy what he likes and what he doesn't like, what's bad, what's good, and then he'll be able to make decisions for himself when he's out. So this dad, say if he, case in point, say if he leaves here, who's this kid going to turn to? Like, what facts is he going to have to really try to move forward? If I'm the mom in this situation, I would be all over this dad right now.
If you don't know who this kid is, this is Baby Gronk. If you don't know, just look it up. He's all over the place right now. But the rep that the dad has right now is he's in everybody's DMs trying to get some love for his kid, and he's the best 2nd grade football player you've ever seen. 3rd grade, they got videos and all this other stuff, and he's basically trying to put his kid out there in order to make some money in some degree.
That's fine, making your kid great. Look, my daughter has been in the music since she's been 8 years old. But I made my daughter play basketball. We made her do so many things to take her away from what she loves. And then what happens is she went back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's go do this. Let's do this. Let's do that. And she went right back to music. That's how you know.
Yeah.
That's what your kid wants to do and loves to do. And just a quick story right quick. When I had my training academy, when I first retired, parents was bringing their kids from everywhere. And I mean everywhere, for me to train their kids. And so lady drove all the way down from, I think it was Colorado. She brought a kid down. This kid walked in the gym. He was in 8th grade. He was 6'5". He weighed about 180 pounds, and he was built. Not kidding you. And he walked in the gym. I was like, oh, And so put him through a workout. This lady paid. She paid well. She had to pay well because she took my time. It was individual. And so I'm not going to tell you what I charged her, but I told her before she came down there, I'm like, you're taking away from my business because now I got to work with your kids for a couple of hours for the next 5 days. It's going to be very expensive for you. She obviously had the money, which I was happy for. Pay me. But I really put my effort into this kid. So when he first came in, I'm thinking this kid is very advanced, so I'm not going to have to really start from scratch. So he comes in and I said, okay, I just want you to go around this circle. It was like 10 feet in front of the rim. And that's how I warm kids up. Just shoot the ball. And they're moving laterally, right? Boom, boom, boom. Mm-hmm. Lateral part, quickness part, no problem for this kid. This kid took 25 shots. He made 2. And I was like, okay. Form wasn't there, just awkward, everything. So I said, okay. So I took him through some other stuff. Day was over. Kid probably made, I'm not kidding you, out of about 150 shots, kid might have made 15 shots. Mm. So I set the kid down. I said, young fella. Started talking to him. I said, man, what do you love? And I could tell he was losing his attention span while he was doing all this. And I said, what else do you like to do? Oh, he said, I like to do this, He said, but I really love playing my guitar. And I tried to take him away from the guitar. And I went to something else and started doing it. And I said, yeah, what did you do? What were you thinking about when you were driving down here for the most part? Man, just, I wish I could have brought my guitar. I just, it really settles me. Next day he came to work out, same problem. And this is for parents out there that's listening. Struggling. I took him aside again. I was like, when you went to bed last night, man, were you tired? He said, yeah, I was tired. You wore me out. I said, yeah, what put you to sleep? I just started thinking about my music. Right then and there, I cut it off. I gave the mom my money, wrote her a check. I said, Miss, can I talk to you? I said, I know this is going to hurt. You got a 6'5" son. People in your neighborhood probably thinking he should play ball. I said, he don't want to play. I said, I'm trying to save you and your son. He doesn't want to play. Maybe he might cycle back to it. He doesn't want to play right now. So I said, he loves music. I said, you know that, right? He said, yeah. I said, let him have his music. Kid's in 8th grade. Let him have his music. She bawled. When I tell you, I had to literally hold her up, man. I started crying. It was the most impactful thing for me, man, that I've ever been around because to me, I felt like I saved that kid's life. And I haven't heard from them. I haven't talked to them, but I feel like I saved that kid's life, man. And that's what that dude is really putting his kid in line for. Yeah. To really fail and reach a level of distress and depression. And parents, you just can't do it, man. Let the kid grow up.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, that's terrific. I have a different approach to my kids, but, I never force them to do anything that they don't want to do.
Yeah.
And when they inevitably say, you know what, I'm not interested in this, then you know what they love and what they don't love. And that's cool. Yeah. Listen, there's a lot of different paths to get to where, ultimate success is. And I know pro sports is the most obvious professional peak that you can see because you see it on a day-to-day basis, or acting and music and, entertainment, the entertainment industry as a whole. But you can be successful and just as successful and make that kind of money at a high level in so many different industries as well. And some of those passions come through in different ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can't eliminate it for your kids before they even get to a chance. This kid's going to grow up until he's going to get to like 18 years old. And then he might have to reset his whole life and have to rethink, okay, well, what am I interested in? Because for the longest time, I've been told what I am interested in, even though I might not really be that interested in
look,
it.
I played street hockey. I played baseball. I played, we had a racket out there. I would play that. I tried everything I could to take my mind off of basketball, and I kept going back to it. That's how you know your kid loves it.
Yep.
Trust me, my son was lazy on the court initially and just wasn't putting effort. I wouldn't even train his ass. And he'll tell you for about 3 weeks, wouldn't talk to him. Okay? And he finally came back to me like, Dad, come on now. I missed this. Okay, let's do it. Like, you can't just force feed kids, man. You can't.
Yeah.
What that guy's doing is just not good, man. It's just not good for that young man. And
sure.
I feel for him.
Yeah, for sure. Just like Jay said, let a kid be a kid, man. That's what it's all about. We ran a little long today, but it was fun. Kind of. Got a little cringe there.
I had an OGs.
No, you did not. He did not have an OGs.
Yeah, I did. I had an OGs. An OGs of just knowledge.
An OGs of, oh my God.
Old man Saul in class.
I need to see Saul's feet is what you had.
Did you sit up in class like this? No. Because when you're young, you sit in the class, you be like, you sat in the class like this.
I don't even know how I sat in class.
Oh, you was in the service. I know you were. You was
like. All right, that's enough for today, folks. You can catch him on NBA Sirius Satellite Radio, NBA.
Let me see your
the
feet.
NBA show.
Show me your feet.
No, NBA show today from 1 to 4 local time.
He's going to show me his feet when he's done.
We'll be back next week with another episode of Outside Shots. You can catch him on Twitter at JumpShot8. And you can follow me on Twitter as well at
SiriusXM
Bookman.
NBA Radio.
Yeah, okay.
1 to 4.
There you go.
Every day.
You can join us today on the PHNX Suns show. I think we're going to be talking about Bradley Beal because apparently the Wizards are in the market to shop Bradley Beal right now as we speak. So here we go. Until next time, peace.